Shalom, Israel. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to Lek out there doing this work of faith and live with love and true sincerity. I just wanted to bring out a topic, pretty much, I think I want to entitle it, Digest What You Read. Okay, digest what you read. All right, and I want to start off in the book of Revelations, chapter 1, verse 3. And it reads, Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. Okay, and of course, it's important for, us to, you know, constantly stay in tune with the scriptures, to read daily, you know, um, as much as possible, but it goes beyond just reading, just going through chapters, running through chapters. You might want to read 10 chapters a day. Well, doing all that reading and what you're doing, how much of that are you actually um, soaking in? Are you letting soak in? You know, how much of those 10 chapters or however much you read in a day is really sinking into your spirit to where, you know, you're actually absorbing it and you're applying things into your life. You know, these scriptures aren't just here, just for us to read and, to quote scriptures and things like that. These scriptures are our life. They are supposed to be applied to our life. Okay. And, you know, depending on, what exactly you're reading, sometimes, you could be trying to read 10 or 20 chapters or something a day. That could be too much because how much of that are you actually going to retain? Now, you have our the historical parts of the scriptures, our history where you go through, King David, King Solomon, and stuff like that. You may read a nice significant amount, and it may not have a whole bunch of different things that you would have to meditate on, say as a, like a Proverbs or something like that. But in every scenario, in which you look at, there are jewels and gems to be grabbed out of each and every scenario that we find here within these scriptures, within our history, you know, and that's why it's so important to study. Study is much more than just reading. Okay, it's much more than just reading. All right. The Second Timothy's 2:5, and it says, "Study to show thyself approved unto the Most High, a workman that needeth not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth." Now, when you study, you're reading, you're memorizing, and you're letting it soak in. You want to meditate with the scriptures as well, you know. So when you study to show yourself approved, you're going to be able to rightly divide the word of truth because you put that time in, because you let it soak in. And then wisdom will pour out of you abundantly when you allow that to happen. When you take your time with your readings and your your studies and stuff like that. We got to keep in mind that, this is a marathon, it's not a sprint race, you know. And with every good thing, that's being built, things take time, So you don't necessarily want to rush to do this or rush to do that, You want to move at a pace that's good for you and making sure that you're absorbing and retaining the knowledge, digesting it properly, Like with the body, for instance, you have different, different foods that you ingest, you know, has a different rate in which it digests in the body, different foods. You have certain fruits, you know, watermelons and different melons digest faster than if you were to eat strawberries, or to make a strawberry juice or something like that, or a mango juice or blueberry juice, Then you have your greens. Your greens have a certain digestible time, which is a few hours. Then you will have, your meats and, your starches. Those take hours to break down. Meats in the body would take, depending on what type of meat it is, anywhere between 12 to 36 hours to break down in the body. Certain grains, you know what I'm saying, 6 to 12 hours to break down in the body, you know? So that's time that it takes for it to be digested. And that's exactly how, the scriptures say that what? Because we are babes within this thing. So it's all about, pacing yourself at that nice steady flow so that everything can be properly digested. You're not missing out, those spiritual jewels that the Most High wants you to get, out of reading something. Because a lot of the times, you know, we read our history over and over. We read these scriptures over and over, but I guarantee you it's always something that you may have missed or the Most High ain't let you to see at one given time, but now he allows you to see it when you read that scripture again, because that's what I call the manifold ways of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. You can read one scripture a number of different times and be able to get different perspectives on it, and be able to pull more wisdom up out of it each and every time. That's powerful. All right. So this is uh 1 Corinthians 3:1. And our brethren cannot speak unto you as unto carnal, but as unto Slakia, cannot speak unto you as spiritual, but as unto carnal, even as unto babes in Yahweh Shah. I have fed you with milk and not with meat, for hitherto you were not able to bear it, neither yet now are ye able. So just like what Paul using this as an example, what a baby doesn't system is not built up to deal with meat just yet, but is ready, to deal with the milk, and it's much more easier on the baby system, easily digestible and everything, But that meat that would clog up the baby system because the baby hasn't developed to the point to be able to digest that, So it's the same thing when we read in these scriptures. We take our time, and we build upon the knowledge, in which we know. You don't go and just, like for instance, when you read certain books or certain material, you don't just read it and run through it. You read it and you study it, You take your time with it. Anybody could read a book, say, 300 pages within a week, if you really take the time out and apply yourself to put in the effort to do that. But what out of that, did you retain? How much of those 300 pages are you going to be able to apply into your life if you just breeze through it instead of actually studying the material in which you're reading? You going through it, you meditating upon that. And that's what's most important, about this word and letting it sink in. And that's one of the beautiful things about fasting, fasting and being in the spirit gives you the time necessary, to be able to meditate upon the scriptures, to reflect on things, reflect on your life, reflect on areas in which you may have messed up, reflect on areas in which you can make better about yourself and how you can apply yourself more unto the truth and unto this body of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shah. Okay. So this is the book of Psalms 1:1, and it says, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful, but his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Okay, so this is how it's supposed to be. Our delight is supposed to be in the law, the testimonies, in the ways of our forefathers, and to meditate on them constantly, because this is what is going to, get us through these troublesome times, and when you study, and especially getting into, our forefathers, that suffered, and I primarily like to think about, the time of the Maccabees and everything in which they went through, all of that hell and the battles and the wars in which they went through, the things Yahweh Shah went through, the things that Paul went through. We are to think upon those things when our time of affliction and our time of trouble comes, when the time of Jacob trouble really hits, and look at the strength of our forefathers. And if we don't take the time, to digest, and to thoroughly look at and examine all of the hell that they went through and apply it to our forthcoming situations, and by having faith, how are you going to be able to withstand those times? You know, this is why you really, really have to let those things soak in. You have to really let, you know, the fact that you're going to have to suffer, you're going to continuously suffer even more than now, soak into your brain, soak into your spirit, man, you know, and prepare yourself for this mentally, because we know that this is more of a mental battle, you know, than a physical one, you know, because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but spiritual. And we war with our minds versus the darkness of this world, versus the evils of this world that try to tear us down, man. You know, so this is, you know, just very important, you know, for brothers to be able to digest what you read and take your time with things. Don't try to breeze through things, you know, just to try to get your knowledge up quick, do this quick, do that quick. You know what I'm saying? Pace yourself with this thing, man. If the Lord gives you more of an ability to be able to digest information faster than someone else, then cool, you know, then cool. But, you know, just keep in mind that you want to constantly meditate and study, you know, and really apply, you know, the scriptures into your life, or else you're going to find yourself being a castaway, man, you know, and being a reprobate from not examining yourself daily, you know. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that out real quick. And, you know, I just hope this segment was edifying for Hakim out there. So I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And shalom to Lek out there doing his work of faith and labor of love with true sincerity. Shalom.